cool. I just stopped into the Waterville Sawdust Festival. Just driving along and I saw the wood carvings, and they are there today and tomorrow. And tomorrow they have a big auction, a lot of the stuff they've carved. But I got to talk to a guy from Vermont who travels around carving, and I got to talk to a guy from Indiana who does this full time. Him and his wife travel on their camper. They were in Florida, and he said they've actually been in Pennsylvania now for a couple of weeks. I'm just going from carving festival to carving festival, so that's pretty cool. Started raining now, a little harder, but they said the showers have been just coming and going today. Nothing major, and that's what this one seems to be too here. Well, we just got unstuck again. I get stuck now about 3 times, and hit a cool little bridge. Red blazes, so I'm not exactly sure what this trail is. But this creek is awesome today. Jim just came up. He caught 2 little brook trout so far. He's having a lot of fun. He was down, right down there where the Young Women's Creek comes down. We're standing on Baldwin Run, and he was over where Young Women's Creek comes down. As always, I should have got myself here a lot earlier, but it's kind of funny how it worked out. Jim got right behind me in Haneyville, and then we were able to come together and do a little trail riding and just check out the creeks. So all right, no luck for me, so we are headed back up to the Jeep and should head up the road. We got about an hour yet to get the cabin. Good morning, everybody. Got back into the cabin last night about 8 o'clock, and we were headed out this morning to the Waterville State Park. We're meeting up with the Susquehannock State Foresters, and we are doing a habitat tour today here in the Susquehannock State Forest. Typically they go over some habitat improvements they've been working on in the area. So it's always a good time. I didn't video much at the park or on the bus tour. There was a lot of people out on the tour today. So I took off in the Jeep afterwards and videoed the route, and here's some footage of the tour route. We started here at Waterville State Park. This is where everybody boarded the bus and headed out. The majority of the tour is on gravel state forest roads. We usually go by some previously timbered areas and some newly timbered areas, and you get to see the progression of the forest from the timbering. This is an area they're showing us that a chemical is used to help control invasive species. They also use controlled burns or just go in and cut it out by hand.
Mark said this is the second biggest district. We're 265,000 acres.
Maybe it's
and we have a timber management plan within each district. There's a timber management plan, and that timber management plan was derived through a computer modeling.
The elk in Pennsylvania were native
Okay, so if we were to go back 500 years ago, there were lots of elk in Pennsylvania. They were not Rocky Mountain elk. These are Rocky Mountain elk. They were brought here about 100 years ago from South Dakota, Wyoming, and Colorado. Okay, prior to that, it was eastern woodland elk. Eastern woodland elk at one time pretty much covered the Appalachian Mountain chain all the way from Maine down to Georgia. Due to habitat loss and overhunting, the eastern woodland elk was extirpated, eliminated, removed, whatever you want to say, in the 1860s. The last eastern woodland elk was killed in Elk County, Pennsylvania, and that was the last eastern woodland elk, period, on Earth, okay? So that's how Elk County got its name. When the Pennsylvania Game Commission was established in 1895, one of their very first goals was to bring elk back to Pennsylvania because they were a native species here. So they went out west, live trapped 177 Rocky Mountain elk in those 3 states. They brought them back to Pennsylvania and they released them, in 10 different locations. Here's the cool part, at least I find it very fascinating. They only survived in Elk and Cameron counties. So, you know, it's pretty unique to think, okay, so the last eastern woodland elk lived in Elk County.
Well, no luck with the fishing, but creek's pretty cool. That's a nice little trail. It dead ends down here a little ways. So we're headed back up to the main trail or back up to the Jeep. This is the Susquehannock State Forest we're in. So we hiked on down the creek a little further. Beautiful creek down here. Not a bad trail either. No luck. I don't know if the water's too strong. I'm getting snagged My hook's getting snagged in quite a bit of stuff, so I'll have to revisit my setup. But otherwise, yeah, not bad. About 3 in the afternoon now, so we're gonna get back in the Jeep and get moving. Always seem to run out of time too quick up here. This is a nice little campsite. That's right off the road, but you got a small tributary stream coming in to the main stream. Like your fire pit, picnic table. I'd say it's pretty nice.
Yeah, same way. You good. You good.
Well, we just stopped in the Cross Forks. Stopped in the general store and grabbed the root beer and a Snickers. And we're headed back out on the trail. Rain's picking up again. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So, a lot of fishermen out yet today. I talked to the lady in the general store. She said there's been a lot of turkey hunters in the area hunting. We haven't seen any wildlife at all yet on this trip, but and the water looks a little bit high. Looking at my GPS, well, this is part of the Donut Hole hiking trail. Well guys, that about does it for this trip. We are almost back to the asphalt. It was a great weekend out here in the Susquehannock State Forest exploring, doing some fishing, and the Habitat tour was awesome. I can't wait to get out on another one. Thank you for coming along. Hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe if you'd like to see some more videos like this. We got plans to be out in 2 weeks back up here in Susquehannock. And yeah, hope to see everybody out and about.